what are all these companies doing that is sort of different with AI than it was 2, 3, 4 years ago when, it was big data or machine learning was sort of the name of the game, and now suddenly it's AI everything. But is it really different? And if it is, how should all of us be thinking about our jobs, including how do we hire? Who do you hire for in a world where it's AI, or how do you use AI to help you hire? Like all these questions, like how do all these things change in what is exciting about that or scary?
Yeah. So in terms of what changed, for me, the shift to generative AI and specifically GPT, I can't understate how important that was, because I've been in and around AI a long time. I was counsel for Alexa in 2013. But generative AI is the first tech where you can give it an unstructured question and get a better answer than in some of those previously structured forms of AI that you mentioned. Right. So
even today is not a fantastic, perfect experience. It's very sort of one answer that's only partially correct. And if it doesn't, mine still messes up. I remember it messed up yesterday for something I asked it. So like, it's not great still, but I know I asked ChatGPT and I was like, yeah, boom, 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 here you go. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Technically, the attention is all you need paper and the advent of AI, but I was very lucky to be at Replit. Replit had a deal with OpenAI back in 21. And, I worked on that deal and saw what would be AI as applied to software. So software, the language that you're writing in, JavaScript or what have you, it's relatively structured and the language makes a difference to the output. And so AI as applied to software is perfect. But guess what? It's similar for law, right? We have structured things in contracts. We have a wider than any other field history in writing back to, the Constitution and prior for US law. And so taking this technology that has the ability to morph knowledge, it was just so profound for me to see applying AI to legal work. I previously hadn't really been excited about tech for legal, a little bit for like with being able to search big databases and even just literally use search queries as an associate. I did this in discovery and so on. But this was something that was my actual legal work. So it wasn't contract management. So it wasn't pushing files around. It wasn't databases. This was, I am literally drafting something and I can do it in a 10th, a 5th, a 20th of the time. And that to me is like, okay, the best way that this was put was that was a user story. So I talked to one of our users, one of our best users, and asked him like, how do you think about this? And in his case, he is an outside general counsel for a few companies. And he disclosed that he's using Juicy AI or using AI to his clients as part of the ethical responsibility of the bar. And one of them kind of asked him about it. And I said, well, what did you say? And he said, you get me on hour 1 for the strategy part instead of getting me on hour 5, 4 hours after I've manually assembled the contract. He's like, you get that fresh brain, you get the most creative, the most strategic, because the grunt part is done. And it's really like the best analogy is like, if you watch basketball from, the 80s or even the 90s, that was before the whole profession started lifting weights. So you see these pictures of Michael Jordan and he's like kind of scrawny. And then he starts lifting weights. He starts practicing on game days and does 2-a-days and all these things through his coach. And both he and the entire profession now, the idea that a basketball player wouldn't lift weights is like, it's absurd, right? So like the entire profession, the level of the game has increased. That is what will happen with law. It's very clear to me that will happen. Talked with lawyers across the board. I'm giving a talk at the American Association of Marriage Lawyers. So they're thinking like, okay, if you can quickly calculate someone's assets, how strong can you make your divorce case? If you can, talking to a plaintiff's lawyer the other day, he said he used just vanilla ChatGPT during a deposition. The witness was not being cooperative, giving 12 questions that I could use to break through on this issue. He said, 3 of them were garbage, but 9 of them were great. And he's like, on my own, I would have thought of 5 probably. and broke through the deposition. He's like, guess what? We're bringing more cases. Watch out, companies. And so I was like, okay, like hearing that, I think the Michael Jordan kind of MBA level rises. We're going to see that on a mass scale across the legal profession.